If you feel like things are just not happening as fast as you want them to in your business, there are a few things that you need to think about. If you feel like your message is never perfect, you're constantly doing stuff in your business and you're not getting the results and you're wondering why, then this video is for you. One of my gorgeous clients recently asked me the question, Suze, how long does it take for me to get the results that I want? And today I'm going to be sharing with you 4 key things that I think are going to help you to move the dial faster, get results faster, and get out of your way faster. If we've not met, I'm Suze Chadwick. I'm a personal brand and business coach helping you get out of your own way so that you can build a brand that sells for you. And this is a topic that I feel like I coach a lot of new clients on regularly. And if you're a business owner who is wanting to make things happen faster, then there are some shifts that you're going to need to make. Now, the thing I hear a lot of the time, especially for people who are maybe shifting to come online, wanting to build their visibility, they've already had success in their career and their business before, but they're now shifting into either being a coach, consultant, or online educator, is that they're spending so much time on developing the message, creating the new branding, setting up their business, that they find that things don't move as fast as they want it to move. And the truth is that you're not stuck because your message isn't clear. You're stuck because you're not putting it out there. You can't think your way to clarity. You have to act your way to clarity. And this is something that I learned early on in my business. I've had my business for 10 years now. And it was only through the doing that I learned what worked and what didn't work. It was only through the doing and the sharing that I learned what message really landed with my audience and what didn't. And sometimes I would spend so much time crafting a message, put it out there and get crickets. And there would be other times where I'd say something off the cuff that just came to mind when I was in flow and working with clients that would go gangbusters. So sometimes there is no rhyme or reason. The fact is that it's only through taking action that you're really going to see the results that you want, which I know is so frustrating for people who might feel like you want things to be perfect. Like you want to know that this is going to work. But I hate to break it to you, friend. That's just not possible. You can't know that something's going to work in its confined, in your mind, inside your business, not actually putting it out there and testing it. Because the market is constantly changing. The way our language lands changes. The way that your audience receives information from you can shift and change. And so we're got to be constantly evolving and thinking about what are the things that I'm hearing right now? What are the challenges that my audience are dealing with? And how can I share my thoughts, my feelings, my experience that's going to really help them move forward? And the truth is that so many of you are sitting on gold. Amazing ideas, amazing wisdom, amazing insights and experience, but nobody's seeing them because you're waiting for it to be perfect. So that's what we're going to shift and change today. So let's talk about the first core truth, which is that action builds clarity, clarity builds confidence, and confidence attracts clients. Your certainty sells. When you know what it is you're here to say and do, and you have conviction behind it, that is what is going to captivate the right clients for you. And you might need to say it in 10 different ways. And I think this is the thing that is holding so many people back, is that you think that there's one right way of saying it, and there's not. There are many right ways of saying it because that message will land with different people in different ways. And you want to learn to get really creative with the way that you share your message, the different platforms that you might share it on, and then look for the feedback and the response. One of the things that I was just saying to one of my Amplify clients is that it's only when you show up and you start doing it that you'll start to build your brand. When you build your brand, that's when you'll build your audience. And really just understanding how this all works. When you share your message, you'll start to build your brand. Your brand then starts to build your audience because they're like, yes, you're for me. I love what you're talking about. I now know who you are and what it is that you offer. And when you start to build your brand, your audience, then you start to build the trust with them. And then from that trust, you get clients. So if you're sitting there thinking, why am I not getting the clients that I want? Why am I not creating the outcomes that I want? You've got to take a look and say, am I sharing my message in different ways? Am I sharing it in a way that's building my brand and helping me to become known for this thing I want to become known for? When I do that, is it building and growing my audience? When I look at the metrics, when I look at the engagement, when I look at the stats, am I building my audience? And then from there, what are the offers that you're making? And so just understanding how that works. And even if you've been in business for a long time and you understand how it works, the question is, when you look at what you're doing, are you doing those things? Because sometimes we know, but we don't do, which is sometimes where the question comes from. How long is this going to take? Well, you've got to be building and measuring and seeing what's working and then continuing to do the things that are working well. So let's talk about the first pillar that a lot of people struggle with, and it's perfectionism. And I'm actually going to say that there's different levels of perfectionism. Sometimes we can say to ourselves, oh, it doesn't need to be perfect, but I just want to get it right. I just want to make sure that this works. And that is a type of perfectionism. You might not be thinking that it needs to be perfect, but if you need to know that it works before you put it out there, that is a type of perfectionism. And the truth is that if you're thinking, but I just need to get it right, that's not strategy, that's self-doubt. And I think this is such a huge element of it, is there has to be the self-trust. So when I was speaking with one of my clients and she was saying, I just need to know that the message is right, it's not landing, but she's not really putting it out there in a bigger way, there's a self-trust element that is lacking. You've got to trust yourself that you know what it is that you want to say. You've got to trust yourself that you know what it is your clients need to hear from you. And like I said, you might need to say it 10 different ways, but it's also trusting yourself that you can do that you can be creative and that you can come up with different ways of saying it and that you can be aware and that you can see what the response is when you do that. And when it does come to messaging, we already know that simple works so much better. Speaking at a 13-year-old comprehension level is a big one because we are bombarded with thousands and thousands, if not millions of messages every single day. It's so important for you to be clear. Remember, clear over clever. We want it to be simple. We want it to be something that somebody can understand easily without having to think about what exactly do you mean by that? And so that is something I challenge a lot of my clients on is if you were explaining this to a 13-year-old, how would you say it? And it's not to say that people can't comprehend complex things, but when somebody's scrolling, you have a very short amount of time to capture their attention, to let them know exactly what it is that you're speaking about and whether it's relevant to them or not. So number one, calling out your audience. I work mainly with women in business who have been in business for a while and they're looking to build their coaching, consulting, and service-based business. Now, that will capture somebody's attention. I could say something like, if you're a coach who's wanting to grow your business and your brand, then you've got to make a decision about what you want to be known for. What is the thing that you specifically help your clients with? Now, somebody who's wanting to do that, their ears are going to prick up because they're like, that's me. I want to be able to do that. So really think about how you're calling out to your ideal client to make it really easy for them to know that you're speaking to them. And so if you want to get out of the perfectionism trap, then this is one action that you can do. Is that I want you to take your message and I want you to test it out. I want you to say it in 3 or 4 different ways. And if you're on Instagram, you can obviously test it by going live in your stories, in a carousel, whatever it is. If you're on another platform, then test out saying it in different ways that you feel could land with your audience. Get creative with it. Try and have some fun with it. Inject your personal brand and your brand tone of voice and personality in it. Because the other thing when it comes to messaging is that the way that you say it is going to also impact how it's received because your energy is your invitation. The second pillar is the action loop. And this is really one of the main things is that you are only going to get feedback. You are only going to find out what's working and what's not when you take the action. Stop waiting for it to be perfect and just start getting it out there. And every single post, every carousel, every single thing you put out is a data point. Did this land? Was it something that my audience really resonated with? Was there a better way that I could say it? Which way of saying it landed the best? And where so many people get stuck is doing the busy work. Do I need to update my website? Do I need to update my branding? I can't put it out there because this isn't perfect. And can I just say, you can build a business, you can generate cash in your business, and you don't need all of that. Yes, it's good to have. But it doesn't mean that you need that to be perfect and all done before you're generating money in your business. I remember when I first started, I built my own website in WordPress using the Divi theme. I created my own images in PicMonkey. That's how long ago this was. And I put it out there. I started a Facebook group and I built that to like 4,000 people. I ran events, etc. but I didn't have everything perfect before I started getting clients in. And the thing that you've got to realize is that we have access to all of these free platforms where we can be accessing millions of people every day. And if you want to start to connect with and attract clients to you, then start using those. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Somebody could DM you and say, I want to work with you, and you can invoice them. You could use something like Stanstore or Calendly to take money and book people in. You do not need to have everything set up in order to start moving forward with your business. And one thing I say to so many of my clients, I want you to practice imperfection. I want you to do it even when you're awkward. I want you to start small and then build up. I want you to have an offer where if I DM'd you and I said, how can I pay you? How can I give you money? You've got it there and I can literally go and start working with you right now. The third pillar is, I feel like all of them are so important, but it is self-trust. And you're not going to do anything in your business until you trust yourself. Trust yourself to show up and deliver. Trust yourself to have the message that's going to work and figure it out if it doesn't. Trust yourself to book the venue, to put the offer out there, to know that you can do this thing that you're wanting to do. And self-trust isn't about perfection. It's about keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Posting when you said you were going to post, showing up when you said you were going to show up. And this is the other thing that I had such a great conversation with a client about the other day, is that when you show up regularly, you are saying to your audience, you can trust me. I've had my podcast since 2017, and there have been a handful, literally probably I can count on one hand, since 2017, we're now in 2025, that I have missed putting out a podcast episode. More recently, I'm doing videos, but that has been something that I've committed to myself. So my audience has continued to grow because they know that there's always going to be an episode that drops every week, that there's going to be either a video or an audio, that there's going to be an email that goes out. And so when you start to set these things up in your business, not only are you building the self-trust with yourself that this is the strategy I'm going to use, this is what I'm going to do, this is when I'm going to show up, and you make that commitment, but you're also making it to your audience. And if somebody shows up for a bit and then they disappear, and then they show up and then they disappear, there is a trust that is being eroded, if it's been built at all, where this person can't really be relied on. And so this is where your strategy has to come into play, where you have to make the decision that I'm going to commit to doing this. I teach my clients that this is a professional practice. It's something that you do, come hell or high water. It's something that you do that you have committed to. So every Monday at the beginning of the day is my CEO morning. It's where I look at my finances, look at projects, look at team. On a Wednesday morning, I've got my Amplify call. On a Friday, I've got my BBA. Within that, I've got my coaching clients. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know that every week a podcast or YouTube video goes out. Every week an email goes out. I'm making offers all the time. These are professional practices that I have built in my business that help me to continue to generate the clients, the revenue, the outcomes that I want. And so you've got to ask yourself, do you have the professional practices that are helping you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? An action that you can take for this pillar is to decide what your professional practices and your non-negotiables are going to be. And I think reverse engineering it is such a big part of it as well. Like really taking a look and saying, what is it that I want to happen? And now what do I need to do on a regular basis in order to make that happen? And the fourth pillar is around visibility. Because if you're not seen, then people can't work with you. They can't book you. They can't find you. And especially in today's business world, it's not a nice to have. It's part and parcel of running a business, is being visible. There are 7, 8, 9-figure business owners that are showing up. So if you think, I don't really need to, like, it's just not important for me to do that, I'm going to challenge that thinking. If you want to grow your business, build a personal brand, become known in your industry, and maybe you're somebody that's like, I don't want that, but then that's fine. But if you want to be a leader in your space, if you want to attract the clients that you want, if you want to share your message, show up and create the impact that you want, then visibility is absolutely part of the equation that you need to have in your business. And one of the key things that I teach my clients in Amplify when we look at the scalable impact method is building your content engine. Because as we know with the 7-11-4 rule that Google shared about how people buy, and I see it all the time, is that I might find somebody, say, on Instagram or TikTok. I then discover that they've got a podcast or a YouTube channel. And then I go and I find that. And now I'm binging. I'm having the 7 hours that it needs to connect with somebody. I might see them on 11 different occasions. That could be multiple podcast episodes, multiple YouTube episodes, or I see them online. And now I'm looking at, what do they do? How could I work with them? What do they offer? And so really understanding that that is just how people buy today. And you need to look at your business and ask, if somebody found me, could they binge me? Could they find out exactly what I think, how I work, what I believe, what I teach? Or is that going to be really hard for them to be able to do? Am I making it easy for people to get to know me? Am I making it easy to build trust with my audience? Is it clear what my offer is and how I can help them to achieve the transformation, the outcomes, and the goals that they want? Because if your answer is no, then you are missing a big part of your personal brand and business engine. And so it's really about looking at those 4 key pillars and asking yourself, where do I need work? What do I need to fix? Where do I need to have those professional practices to start to build this? So we want to simplify what we're doing so that it's easy for people to buy from us. We want to create great assets that allow people to build trust with us and where we can share our expertise, our knowledge, our personality, so that they can get our vibe and know if we're for them or not. And then we need to be making the offer as well. And if you do want to do this, then that's where I work with my clients in the Amplify Accelerator to build a personal brand that sells for them and really learn to get out of your own way so that you can start to create the assets that help you build and grow your business. And the truth is, you want to be able to show up with ease, show up with confidence, have a clear way of building and growing your business and brand. And that happens when you stop trying to get it right and you just get it out. And that's when you're able to sharpen your message, you grow your brand, and then clients start coming to you.